Alrighty guys, good evening. Alright, so we're going to start off with creating a new project as we always do. So go ahead and click new project and we're going to call this string comparison. If you want to call it string if else if or whatever, just going to call it that. And then create a new class, call it string comparison also. And go ahead and open that one up and start with this. So highlight everything, and we have a public class string comparison, and build that, and string comparison class, and then inside we need to make our main method. So public static void main string args, and we've put the curly brackets and main method. Alright, so let's take a look at how we're going to create this. So to start, we want to create a string. This should be new to you. So string, it's a capital S, and we should have talked about this in class about how it's different from the primitive types such as ints and doubles. So let's call it string, and let's just, use a password. So string password, so that's the name of my string variable, okay? And we do new string, and let's say ABC 1 2 3. Let's call that our string. So let's take a look at this. So I have my creating an instance of string called password, and it's going to be equal to whatever is in the quotes here. Well, in the parentheses here. So ABC 1 2 3 is what this string is equal to. So if we remember from last time, we can create an if, and when we use an if, we're used to this type of format. So password equal, and if it was equal to ABC 1 2 3, then it would work. If not, do something else. But for strings, we don't use the double equal sign. Instead, we use dot equals, and then we put what we want it to equal in parentheses there. So it's password dot equals, and inside these parentheses here, we have what we want it to equal to. So if that's true, we want to do a system.out.println, and we want it to say something along the lines of that is the correct password. Okay. Now I'm going to introduce a little something new. It's kind of the same as last time, except just a touch new. So we can also add an else if. Basically what this is, it's another criteria. Okay, so I'm going to say if the password dot equals, and I'm just going to do this, blank quotes. And what this is going to do is for if the password is equal to nothing, meaning the user didn't put an input, or the user put a space, or something along those lines, okay, so they didn't do anything to it, I'm going to have it say, please enter a password. So system.out.println, please enter a password. Okay, give the user a little bit more idea of what's going on, and then we can, at the end of this, we also put an else, and I'll explain how this is going to run through in a second. So else is kind of like the last thing. So if that first one doesn't work, else if that one doesn't work, then it runs this. And if it gets to this stage, we want it to tell the user, hey, that is an incorrect password. So the password you entered is incorrect. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So we created a string called password, okay? And a string, holds characters. If the password, so if this string equals ABC123, then we want it to output that is the correct password. So it's going to read this. If this is true, it's going to do this. If it's not true, it's going to go to the next if, or else if in this case, right? And it's going to check this. So if the password is equal to nothing, then it's going to output, please enter a password, okay? And if that's not true, then it's going to make its way down to the else, and it's going to print this out. So no matter what happens, it will always print out the password is incorrect. So if this is wrong, it goes here. So we're not going to have that situation of, the nice thing about an else, we're not going to have the situation of the program never opening and running, because no matter what, it should hit this else. So let's go ahead and compile this and run it and see what happens. So if you remember, we should see the password is correct, and that is the correct password. So now let's change things up. So let's do just ABC and see what happens. So if we look at our if else loop statement, sorry, not loop, then we should see, all right, so it's not equal to ABC123, it's not blank, so we should see this, the password you entered is incorrect. So we do that, let's run it, and the password you entered is incorrect. Remember, we see the previous runs as well. Okay, all right, so let's take a look at this and let's try the blank situation. So now it should read here, say, all right, it's not equal to ABC123, it is equal to blank. Let's run that. So compile that, close, and please enter a password. So it's saying you didn't run it. All right, and that's dealing with strings and if loops all in one together. Alrighty, if you have any questions, always feel free to email me. Have a good one, guys.